we can move on to another global event that I always get super excited about, and that's the World Cup. This summer, the 2026 FIFA World Cup starts with 48 teams across 16 host cities in US, Canada, and Mexico. And it's going to be the largest tournament in history. And brands have already started activating. A few of the ones that I've noticed that I've really liked is Budweiser's "Let It Pour" commercial that features Erling Haaland and Jurgen Klopp in a cinematic fan emotion spot that takes the different countries and their fan bases and kind of puts them interwoven with like cultural moments. Like the Japanese fans have Godzilla, all these moments engineered with like nostalgia in mind. And the point is that the Budweiser bottles feature like moments for each of the countries. So the Brazilian fans remember the 2002 bottle where Brazil won. Chinese fans have the moment that China qualified for the first time. The other one that I saw that was like a standout for me is that Adidas launched dog jerseys for their fans or their fans' dogs. So I thought that was a really interesting play because, here in America, obviously, they're not the biggest, World Cup fans. I think it was like Mexico and Japan had, their jerseys. So that was pretty cool. And then you have Coca-Cola doing their own commercial. So it's all these, Stella Artois has Beckham, Duracell has Messi. So it's all these like famous soccer players, coming out to, participate in all these like brands. And we also have some new types of brand activations, which are really interesting. So Lay's launched a WhatsApp group with some celebrities. Messi, Beckham, Thierry Henry, Alexia Putellas, and Steve Carell are in the WhatsApp group chat, chatting with like their fans. So I thought that was like an interesting way to kind of bring it to where we are now, right? Where it's like people expect to be able to talk to, the soccer players that they're fans of. How much it's actually them versus like their people, we'll see later. But I thought it was like an interesting way to kind of, do something new. One of the things that is standing out is that there aren't that many of like the younger, like, players in here. It's mostly like the big names that have been, playing for years or don't even play anymore, like David Beckham, right? But it's like he's also one of the most famous, soccer players ever. So it makes sense that they would want them. I also haven't really seen very many American players, but you'd think that they'd want to feature some of them in some of the commercials, especially if they're going to be playing here in the US. So have you seen any of these commercials? What do you think? Are you a fan of the World Cup? I know we're both in LA's.
First of all, I'm super excited for it to be in town, even though I'm still hoping to find a way to get tickets. I like how accessible this World Cup feels compared to other ones, like Super Bowl level of marketing integrations that are going into so many different themes that are not just about the game itself, but everything adjacent to the game, right? Like the Adidas pet jerseys, right? Really is super awesome. Like I think the Roblox versus FIFA, right? Gaming, great bet on like the younger generation. From what you were talking about stood out to me was Lay's WhatsApp, right? Because like one thing that as an immigrant, use WhatsApp a lot, right? It's like the
Yeah.
primary mode of communication activation, and the fact that they're one, it's a potato chip brand that has a lot of roots in international markets, right? Like some of the best flavors from Lay's are like from different places, but now that they're using WhatsApp in a unique way that actually feels very rooted in behavior around what these fans do, right?
Mhm.
Chatting together, keeping in touch all over the world, different time zone is probably the thing that resonates the most with me. This feels like something that, fans of FIFA would actually do, behavior that I haven't seen from regular playbooks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was talking about this, I think it was for around Super Bowl time, just basically the whole idea that because we lack in so many moments of like monoculture, that more brands are going to be trying to activate around these moments. We just had the Olympics earlier this year. We're having the World Cup this year. In 2 years, we're going to have the Olympics, the Summer Olympics here in LA. So it's like brands are going to be looking to tap into something that they know more people are going to be watching, not just worldwide, but for the first time here in America, we're going to have more people paying attention just because it's in America, right? So people
Right.
by default are just going to be paying more attention. Here's where I kind of, bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier with Disneyland, right? It's the first time that one of the World Cups feels like they're trying to like nickel and dime you for every aspect of the experience, right? Some of those things are yes, like tickets, which fine, you expect to pay a little bit more because there's more people here, right? Like they're trying to like have fans pay for their transportation to and from the game, which in other countries never happened, right? Like it was all subsidized by the government. They're trying to charge you for the fan parties outside. They want to charge you like a lot of money for that instead of making it free and out in the open the way that it was at other World Cups. So you're starting to see the backlash against, having to pay more and more. And it's not even just, against the United States, but also like FIFA itself, where it's like they're trying to get to extract more and more money from, as many fans as they can. And it's starting to turn, people against it. Like, so some of those things are gonna like, sour people on the World Cup. And I wonder if it's gonna sour people on the brands that are also actively trying to like promote the World Cup. This is a huge reason why so many brands aren't, putting out ads yet, even though it's literally like a month away now.
Right.
Which is kind of wild because like I feel for like previous World Cups, like you're gearing up for it in months in advance to get people excited and participating. I feel like we don't even have a song for this year. And like usually like the World Cup
That is
song
true.
is like
Wow.
a huge thing that like, people pay attention to. I love the World Cup. I like watching, it every 4 years, seeing how the different countries kind of come together and like play, seeing the best players out there in the world, and much like the Super Bowl, I've always liked the commercials. There's so many of from like my childhood that I remember like years later because they were so freaking cool. And I feel like this year hasn't really done all that. And then maybe it's because we're faced with like, so many ads, happening all the time. But, usually there's like a cool enough commercial that like makes it out into, the monoculture because it's so cool. So these are the ones that so those are, lessons that, you can take here of like how you want to take the moment or like the event and then remix it to make sense for your brand and how people you think about you. Like the WhatsApp one, I mean, that's the perfect one, right? Because it's like that's where people are like doing group chats. Yes, we have iMessage as well, but WhatsApp is, kind of where more of that happens. And then, the Adidas, jerseys are like, that's still tapping into like an emotion, right? Of
Right.
like, let's get, the dogs involved as well. And I like that they put it with like the dogs that match those countries, right? Like they had the Shiba
Right.
Inu with like the
That was
Japanese.
really good touch.
And then like, there was a Chihuahua wearing the Mexican one. Clearly those are like the ones that stood out the most because they're iconic dogs that are like, part of those countries and their culture. But yeah, those are the things that, people remember,
I think like now that I think about like of what the way that the marketing has been approached. It's probably because just like in general, football has always been like a very small like audience, and it's hard for maybe marketers to kind of justify, hey, we should just go all in and for this audience, and does it make sense, especially with like an international organization. It has its own rules. Yes, it has some presence in the US, but might be kind of temporary. How many of our audience is actually going to be there? So that might be like kind of the uneasiness of why we're not seeing like the full on investment from the brands jumping in, right?
Mhm.
Which is fine, right? Like it's great that we're at least seeing some participation. Um, hopefully, this like the success that comes from this, the lessons that they learn will just excite them to participate in the future, right?